Hello and welcome to the Personal Finance Savant Google Sheets program. In this video, I'm going to be focused specifically on going through an entire tutorial of the data entry section. So if you haven't already, I'd recommend going back to the calculator section, learning about that first, and then coming now back to the data entry section. But if this is where you want to be, welcome to this section. We're going to cover each of these in excruciating detail to make sure you understand exactly how to use them. And this video is really intended for someone who's already purchased the spreadsheet and they want to know every minute detail how to get the most out of this spreadsheet. Before I hop into that though, I do want to call out specifically this license active button down here. So this is actually either a quarterly, an annual, or a lifetime subscription. So depending on which one you purchase, whenever that does expire, this is going to let you know when your payment is actually due, if in case you're not tracking it on your own. But that will have some impact on the functionality of the spreadsheet until you come up to a paid license again. But with that, let's hop into the data entry section. The first thing you're going to need to do at the beginning of each year, and you can also revamp this throughout the year if needed, is hit your financial goals. And in here, there's a number of different goals that you can plan for. You can plan for your income for the year, your net worth at the end of the year, what you expect your savings and investing rate to be. So what this means is actually how much percent of your income are you putting towards investing, and then when you factor in all the other expenses you have. So think about it, you have your income, you got to subtract out your investing because you're paying yourself first, you got to subtract out your taxes because you're paying the government second, then you got to subtract out all your discretionary expenses and your fixed expenses as well. And then you get down to a net income number. And that net income is really your savings that's available after all of your expenses that are due. So this is combining both of those together. What's your credit score goal? Are you going to try to pay down some debt? Are you going to try to get some things off of your credit report, maybe some red flags you had on there in the past? What's your goal for your credit score? It's important to keep in mind your credit score really has a big impact on your borrowing costs throughout your life. So if you think about, say, a $300,000 mortgage, either with a great credit score, maybe you get a 3% rate on that. With a bad credit score, maybe you get a 4% rate on that. And that can amount to thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars throughout the life of the loan. So it really is important to understand credit and to improve your credit as much as possible. And then what do you expect what do you want your effective tax rate to be? And this is going to be something that's going to be difficult to manipulate on a shorter time duration. If you're an employee, you really have little power over minimizing your tax rate. Your company's pulling it out for you. You can't deduct a whole lot as an employee. But the goal is over time that maybe you have a side gig or a side business, and you can just start to deduct other things and then reduce your overall tax rate. And ultimately, that's the goal, is to hang on legally to as much of your dollars as you possibly can. And then you have another section down here for your budget goals on an annualized basis. So there's a number of categories already built into the spreadsheet for you. It's very comprehensive. And on a future page, you'll see that each one of these categories of, say, household, transportation, health, they all have subcategories of expected expenses within that as well. So here, just put in how much you expect to spend each year in each one of these categories. If it's zero, just plop in a zero. If something doesn't pertain to you, for example, if you don't have children or you don't have any debt that you need to pay back, just put in zero in there. And it's going to automatically total up your total expenses for the year. And then we get into the next section, which is really the top one that you need to be entering your data into. And let me go ahead and get my face out of the way. Here you have a yearly summary section at the top, and this is going to automatically calculate based on the data we'll go through down below. So each month you're going to come in here, you're going to enter in your income data, all the types of different income you might have. If some of these don't apply to you or something does apply to you that's not on here, you can just click on these and rename them, no problem there. Enter in all of your investing data. So how much money are you contributing to your 401k, for example? How much are you contributing to your Roth IRA? Total those up and add them in each month. Excuse me. And then you have other things such as your tax data. This you can grab straight from your paycheck or your quarterly estimated payments to the government. and just enter those in for all the different taxes you have to pay between federal, state, city, Social Security, Medicare. We all love taxes, and this helps you keep track of everything you're paying. And then you get into the expense section. So this is what I was talking about. You have the high-level category of household, but then all the different things that fall under the household category. Things like your mortgage and your rent, your insurance, if you have an HOA, electricity, all the other utilities, and phone and internet, lawn and garden, maintenance, cleaning, home security, all the different things you might be spending. Before I go a step further, I want to take a step back and just call out, if you're someone like me, you want to know where every dime is going and specifically where it's going. So I would enter in exactly where that money's going. But if you're someone who doesn't want to put that much effort into it, you just want one number and you're happy, just enter in your total household expenses up here each month and forget about the rest. You don't have to go through this much detail if it's not meaningful to you. And then I'll just scroll through these. These sections are all similar just for the different expense categories and their different subcategories. But just to let you take a look at each one, pause the video if you need to, just to see what all is included. But it really is, I made this list over the last 10 years, modified it, added things to it that were important. It's about as comprehensive of a list as I could possibly think of. Okay? And then at the top, as I mentioned, these will automatically be calculated to give you your total income, investments, taxes, expenses, and then ultimately your net income that's left over after all those expenses each month. And then it's going to give it to you on the yearly basis, so your total income for the year, total investments for the year, and so on. And if you notice, all those sections down below also have the total for the year for any one of these given subcategories, and then your total for the month across all subcategories. So that's going to be an important one that you're going to want to fill out once per month. It might take you an hour or so to do it once per month, but trust me, when you measure things, that's when things start to get improved. If you don't know where your money's going, you're not looking at it, you're afraid to look at it, I promise you, you're not going to improve it. Next one I want to take a look at is the net worth section. So this is looking at things like your asset accounts, your retirement accounts, and your liability accounts. And really here, asset I have defined as money that you could expect to get in a reasonable amount of time, or things that are invested in non-tax advantaged accounts that aren't restricted from accessing that money, say until you're 59 and a half, like a lot of retirement accounts require. And then at the top, you have that financial account summary as well, totaling up your total assets, retirement, liabilities, and then giving you a nice number of your total net worth at the end of each month. And you can see how you're progressing with that throughout the year. And whenever you're doing these, you can type in up to 10 different accounts for each one of these. You can put in whatever you want. So there's no limitation there. If you define something differently as retirement versus asset than I do, feel free to make that distinction. It's really pick and choose what makes sense for you. And then liability accounts, these are just money that you owe. So do you owe money on credit cards, on student loans? Do you owe a mortgage? What are all the money or all the debts that you owe to other people? And those are really the top two ones that you must use. I would say use the financial goals. That's simple. Set it up once per year. And then each month do the budget and do the net worth, all your financial account balances. And then these other ones are really used as needed. If you are someone that likes to have a little bit more help or track a little bit more, you can use these tools. But for example, the monthly bill tracker, if you want to know what are all the different recurring bills that I have due, what day are they due on, how much do I owe each month, this is a nice tool to enter in all that data. And it actually does some automatic color coding here, which I'll get into. But it's also going to tell you at the top, it's going to summarize all your data down here across all months. It's going to tell you how many bills have you paid. And paid, by the way, just means check this box, it's paid. Uncheck it, it's not paid. It's going to tell you how many total bills you currently have due, which, as we can see down here, are 500 plus 60, so 560. How many you have due within 10 days. When I'm shooting this video right now, this happens to be on January 28th. This HOA bill is due on January 30th. So this is due within 10 days. And then it's going to automatically calculate that up here as well for your total number of bills that are due within 10 days and then total number of bills that are currently overdue. Okay, so this one's due on January 1st. I haven't paid it yet, so I have $60 of bills that are actually past due at this point. And you can use this throughout the entire year. You can see the total amount you paid to each one of these different bills. It's just a nice and easy way to get one screen of here's all the money I owe, here's when I owe it, and a nice little summary section of those total numbers as well. So a nice tool, but it's really used as needed. You don't have to use that one. The next one, quite simple, your credit score. I already mentioned the importance of tracking your credit score, knowing what it is, understanding its impact on your borrowing costs throughout your life. So this one, definitely look at one of your credit card accounts, click on the free credit report. They all have it these days, and just type it in here each month. And then you have the lifetime data. So the first year, you don't need to touch this at all. But then at the end of the year, you're going to want to put in all of your summary values into this. And you're able to get this from your other pages. So just to quickly look at it, we have the cash flow. That's all coming from your budget page. And I'll go back and show that. The balance sheet, this is all coming from your net worth page. Just copy and paste it in there. Your credit score page, we just saw the credit score tool. Just copy and paste those numbers in here for your final number for the year. And then you have your expense summary, and that's also on the budget page. Just grab the totals. And just to show an example of where those numbers need to come from. For example, on the budget, we talked about the income, investments, taxes, and expenses. Just take those 4 values there, right-click on them, hit copy, go to the lifetime data page, and then just copy, and now you would hit paste. And that's going to paste those numbers into here. And those are actually need to be pasted as values only. So that's an important thing to note. So that's all you have to do at the end of the year. Do it for these other numbers as well, which we saw those other data tabs where you can grab those from. And that is about all you'll need to do. So you got your goals at the beginning of the year. You got these 2 every month. You got this one's optional if you want to track your monthly bills. This one's optional but recommended if you want to track your credit score. And then at the end of each year, 1 time per year, copy that data into the lifetime data tab. And then you'll start all over. You'll delete all your data, or you'll start with a blank copy of this template, and then you'll go into 2024 and 2025. And you can use this for your entire life. Now, this section was entirely focused on data entry. Again, if you haven't seen it, I recommend going back to the calculator section. But this next video, which I'll have automatically pull up, likely up here somewhere, will be focused on the 2 different analytics sections. So the yearly analytics and the lifetime analytics. And this is really where it gets powerful. Whenever you're looking at visualizing all these different numbers that you typed in, looking at this page doesn't do me a whole lot of good. I have to try to figure out which thing I care about and see, all right, do I feel like this is going up? Do I feel like it's going down? How am I doing against my budget? It's really hard to tell when you're just looking at a screen full of numbers. But when we get into these sections, these are really beautiful and powerful dashboards, visualizations that are going to help you understand your financial picture and how you're performing against your goals. So I hope you stay with me on the next one. But before I go, if you got value from this video, if you like my content, I appreciate if you give me a like. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button. Please go ahead and subscribe as well if you'd like to see more of my videos and be alerted as they come out. If you have a friend that you think would love this tool, would get value and benefit from this tool, please go ahead and share it with them as well. I would appreciate that. All right. Thank you, and feel free to reach out in the comments if you have any questions. Other than that, I'll see you on the next one.